What's going on, everybody? Big Matt Diamond Day in the house, and the two greatest goats of all of Turkey County, Joey Weaver and Tony Hancock. We're glad to have these guys come hang out with us tonight. And so, how you guys do it?
You had to be here, guys. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I mean, it's
glad y'all are here.
Listen, when these forces combine, it's going to be dangerous.
That's what I said. What's going to happen? I mean, we don't. It may shut the internet down, guys.
It may shut them down. Could be dangerous.
So, what's y'all's day consisted of? Sort of, we kind of shoot the breeze, let everybody get settled in, and yeah, I seen you had your daughter out driving.
Well, yeah, my oldest got her
go?
permit. So
Was you?
a couple of times? No, she
She
did really well. She's doing well. She's listening, didn't die. So it's the main thing. No mailboxes got taken out. So
Yeah, kids are. You think, I guess, with the times, kids may not be good drivers because they don't drive like we did. I was driving mowers and tractors when I was 8, 9, 10,
yeah.
But Marcus did. He just took right to driving and drove good.
I always drove pretty
Yeah.
good. People say I don't, but
You don't.
They put us.
I've never wrecked.
They put us in the truck when we were 11. So
They're right, yeah. I
can't
could go
do that
store-
these days.
Drove to the store and get Granddaddy cigarettes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they give them to me because they knew it was for Granddaddy. They knew I wouldn't do it because he would kill me if I busted his pack of them.
Guys, I got one question. Are my comments going to come up on here today?
Yes, same
Okay.
thing.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. But yeah, I never had a wreck. I mean, I got run over one time, but that was his fault.
Yeah.
That's what they all say, Todd.
So what's your day been sorted?
Busy, man. It's been a busy
Really?
week.
Crazy?
Me and Todd were watching the end of that Kansas City game,
Yeah.
Kansas City Cleveland game.
They hung on. Browns made a run.
Oh man, I thought the Browns were
Thought
going
the
to beat
Browns were
them.
going to get it, but Kansas City hung on and got them. So everybody was all the talking heads were predicting Kansas City and Green Bay, and it looks like that's what it's going to be.
With a backup quarterback,
With a backup quarterback.
Chad Henne.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he handed the ball off about 8 out of 10 times. I don't know how.
He made a big run.
What's the concussions now? Is it 3 days or
I
how
think
is
so. 3 days or something like that.
So
yeah.
he's got time to be back.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he got rocked down there, a guy just Barry Windham style bulldogged him. Like off the top rope. Remember that, the bulldog.
They didn't throw a penalty, did they?
No, it was a clean tackle. He just kind of hit his head in the ground and he went out.
We'll see. The talking heads say Green Bay.
You got to have him.
Kansas City, so we'll see. That's what it's looking like anyway. So we'll see.
Did you watch? Did y'all watch Green Bay yesterday?
Didn't get a chance to
They
watch
kept
that
showing the sideline, and you could think Aaron Rodgers just acted like, I don't know. He was so laid back during the
game.
game.
Business as usual.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
him and the receiver. What's that? Adams, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Yeah.
I mean, there was no panic, no nervousness. It was just like another day at the office.
He's going to be hard to beat when he comes out.
That's your difference between a veteran quarterback and your rookie quarterback. They're
Yes.
dialed in. They know what they're doing. They've
Yeah.
been there before. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
What's your day?
Oh, it's been pretty good. Been pretty good.
It's been around here.
I went to church today,
Yeah.
but I had a few things to do, but didn't do a whole lot. Just been getting ready for this show
Bible
mostly.
study. Been in 2 Peter this morning.
Mhm.
Late last night, man. Just really got a real thrashing of myself. It's pretty good. If anybody's curious about that, just go in
2
and read
Peter.
2 Peter's just
Might
a couple.
not go read that.
Just a
I
couple
need a
chapters.
thrashing.
It'll make you understand who's really in charge, and the powers that be. This country is not what it appears to be. And of course, I go to the gym in the morning and do a little bit of working out. And of course, we'll get kicked off. We want to thank our sponsors, Kevin's Lawn and Lawn Care Maintenance and stuff, and of course Warrior Gym, Jonathan and Kim. We do appreciate them and they've been hanging with us.
got an
a while.
awesome smoothie bar, by the way.
Yeah, I
You've
know.
never checked it out. Go check it out, man. They got some good stuff.
The mango tea. That's
Yeah.
what we had that night we went. Coach Kelly came.
Yeah,
we
it's
did a
pretty
little-
good.
Stuff.
We did a cast
Mhm.
over there. It's good. I think he said they're going to open back up first of the month. Kind of waiting for that spring sort of winter to.
It's been cold, man.
Oh man,
The
this
wind's
whole week
been
is,
terrible.
when you're putting a battery in a car, I put in 3 the other day, man.
Or resetting an engine light.
And the
No,
How
wind's
many times have
blowing.
you done that, McKenna?
Yeah, we can't no more. We just have to. You can let people do it, but they're still, because of COVID, they're still holding us back from doing. But knocking your knuckles on a battery tie down when it's like spitting snow out there,
Hurts a
man.
little bit.
Yeah, so we'll kick it off. We'll start out with local stuff, which I have to say, Sandrock Spring Garden, it was a game of just exactly what we thought it would be. Now, we were after the first game at Sandrock. It went to overtime.
73-67.
It was a fantastic game. Winston Weston drives the lane, hits a layup to tie the game.
Yeah.
Right there at the end, man. And
Andrew Floyd's the one that brought him back in that one. Hit about 4 threes, didn't he?
yeah,
In a row.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, just
I'm gonna tell you something, dude. We were talking, Ty and I and Shannon Fagan, our sports director at the station, talked about this earlier in the week. The ESWA has they've underestimated Sand Rock. They're a really good team. In Class
absolutely.
2A.
what are they ranked?
Not where they should be.
They moved
Wow.
up.
I think they're like four or five.
I
now.
think they're a Final Four team.
But they're way underrated. That Sand Rock basketball team is good, and they're very good in 2A. They ought to be a top 3 team in 2A. They're very good.
They did move up some.
I'm going to predict them to go pretty deep.
Yeah, I think they moved up some this week, but before that, they've been very underrated. They're a good basketball team. They're going to be solid in 2A.
No, they got 5 or 6 guys that can play.
Yeah, the Sharp kid.
Maybe 7.
Garen Sharp, he's incredible.
Back on the 13th, they played Westbrook, Joey, and he scores 36 points. He had 7 threes.
Yeah.
He didn't do much tonight.
The game we did the other night, I think he had 6 or 7 or more in a row before he finally missed one right there at the end of the game. They're going to be a team to contend with in 2A.
They won.
Did you get to see that Westbrook game? Did you watch
No,
it? I didn't know there's a kid from Westbrook's drawing a lot of attention
Yeah.
already as far as recruiting and stuff. That's a stud.
His daddy was his uncle's Brody Kroll.
Right, yeah.
And his daddy, he's John David Phillips,
That's
who
right.
was
Yeah,
a backup.
Ty and Logan had mentioned that on our broadcast.
And
Yeah.
Reagan, the mom, was a pretty good player herself.
So his granddaddy, uncle, mother, and father were all D1 athletes.
Yeah.
There you go.
From Westbrook Christian. Yeah.
Well, Westbrook come up short 73-59 on that, and the Garden boys and girls combined for 27 threes versus Gaston. The boys had 16 threes. Riley had 6 of those for the boys, and the girls had 11 threes. Ace Austin had 3. Then later on, just a few days ago, Samrock rolls over to the Garden, 2A Area 12, and they get the W, man. It's a hard place to win. I mean, they pull it out and win 50-48. They said Kurt takes the ball in, passes it down to Pope. Chaz scores real quick. Chaz gets back down defense, takes a defensive bump, and they win the game. So the Garden has Westbrook Christian Tuesday. So
That ought to be a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, now the I think the
Really
girls
good
are ranked
game, yeah.
3rd now, and I'm not going to count out the boys Spring Garden. I'm not going to count them out at all. Just from that win alone, that's not going to say much because they're good.
Well, I found out why the girls are only 2nd or 3rd is because Pisgah's in there.
Yeah.
They win it every year, too.
Yeah, every
that
year.
program is insane. I've been watching
Yeah.
them for years. Their girls' ball is just dangerous. It's like they breed them in test tubes year after year.
Really? Every year.
Every year. Yeah, they're good.
They're kind of like what people look at as Fife and football.
Really?
Mhm.
Recently, is that the Pisgah girls are it's an outstanding program.
You don't ever hear anything about Pisgah. It's not really a long way off. I mean,
No.
what is it, an hour and
Yeah, about
10
an
minutes?
hour and 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
away.
you don't ever hear. But that, I mean, apparently, they're
They've got
number
a solid.
one.
They've got a solid girls program in basketball. No doubt.
Well, the Warriors 4A Area 10, they go over. Nigeria's Diamond had 18, Elrod 17. The other boys, little Horton boy, had 7, and then Jack and the Wilson kid, and of course Brady Chandler, Tony's boy, had 5. And they beat Asheville 67-48, so it's a good win for them. They kind of clean up over there with the area. The girls win 68-34. Mary Hayes Johnson had 15 points. Andrea Green had 12, and Sydney Johnson, the other Johnson girl, had 10. And then Perry had 7, Haygood 6, and then Carson Coley, Shane's daughter, she had 6. So the girls are playing good too right now. I mean, it's a good time to start figuring out how they're gonna start playing because we have the tournament coming up this week,
Is it this coming week?
Yeah, this
Thursday.
coming week. Starts Thursday.
at
Thursday.
Cherokee County
Yeah,
High
Cherokee
School.
County. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen Coach. He come into work the other day, come out of the store, and I asked if they were going to play it at the arena or at the high school. And he said they're playing it at the high school, and we can't understand why you would want to put them in there when it's really tight and constricted. When you could play it at the college and you could really spread people out, why would you not want to do that? And I'm sure it's because of lawyers and liability.
I think a lot of it's COVID liabilities and social distancing issues and that sort of thing.
So it's not going to be at the arena.
No, it'll be at Cherokee County High School this year.
So you're hoping people will come in and out. Like, okay,
Yeah.
my kids are done, I'm going to have to go out. But, I mean,
Will they?
I know, yeah, because when I would go, we want to stay and watch all the teams
Watch it all.
play.
We'll be covering those games. We got some plans for the county tournament. We've got to finalize some things. So be watching out for some announcements on that.
Yeah, now when will the
We'll
start
be
time?
there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll do the boys and girls games.
Y'all be there, what, 4?
Yep, and we'll do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the championship game. So we got some plans for those. We're trying to finalize some details, so be watching for that. We're going to cover all the county tournament games starting Thursday.
Okay,
So,
yeah, y'all check that out. They always do a good job covering over there.
Yeah, Ty and Logan will have the call on that, and we'll start Thursday evening.
Yeah, they do outstanding.
Outstanding
If you
work,
had a chance
yeah.
to listen to them. It's,
Yeah, I talked to Logan
Real
at
good.
Cedar Bluff one night, and I just kind of shoot the breeze with him a little bit, and it's fun to see them out in their working atmosphere, because I've known Ty for so long, since he was a kid, sort of, and
Want to say this while
Yeah.
we're talking about Ty.
yeah,
Shoot some prayers up to the Lambert family and the Story family. Ty lost his granddad this week,
I've seen that. Yeah,
and that's been
Absolutely.
real tough on the family. So I want to shoot up some thoughts and prayers
absolutely.
to Ty and Jarrett and the family and the loss of their.
Yeah, pray for comfort and
Family,
peace
yeah.
for the family to be able to handle what the good Lord's plan was, and
That's right.
and we're just selfish humans, and you can't help you miss people. I miss people I've lost daily.
Mhm.
So
Was
it's
this
that,
the Phyllis's?
That was Philip. Yeah. So Ty, if you're watching or if you're listening, we're thinking about you. Buddy.
Absolutely,
Just
man.
Hang in there, man.
Yeah.
So,
And talking about Cedar Bluff, hey, it comes down the wire, man. They get in a scrap fest over here, down like 7 players. Coach Carpenter's out with kids with tracing and
he
that
was
kind of
playing
thing
with
going
backups
on.
and still won a game.
Yeah, and they won, beat Valley Head over here.
Almost
really?
didn't have enough to
Yeah.
fill the team and still won a game.
47-42.
Yeah.
Jabbo had 8. Ombre come in with 19. Bucky had 13. And Bain from Valley Head had 12. And the Johnson kid from Valley Head had 11. It was won at the free throw line. I mean, they made consistent free throws when they needed them. I think Ombre may have missed 1 or 2, and Bucky may have missed 1 or 2 all night. So the free throws really...
They're
the girls
coming
lost.
on. They're playing good.
Yeah, and especially with all them being out, man.
Yeah.
And then the girls, they lost 47-26.
They're
Valley
short-handed.
Head, Mackenzie had 15. The Crane girls, Valley Head had 13, and the Blair had 10. Now Maggie had 6.
Maggie
and
Cloudis.
yeah, Hayden Cannon, she had 5. So the girls are trying to hang around. And I know, and Russell's our call-in guest and our kind of stepdaughter, Russell Givens. We hang out with him a lot.
She's
hurt
out
her
for the
knee.
year.
She comes in and gets to play a little bit. She was really rolling on a tire right there at the time of the season. We really hated for her having to deal with the injury, but and she knows that's kind of part of the game. So,
Well, they knew there'd be a tough year for them. They didn't have a player on their basketball team, girls basketball team, led her last year.
no,
One. They had one. Maggie Cloudis.
yeah.
Maggie. Yeah.
It's all
So,
new. I mean, all new Lester Joe to try to make a run with this.
And I know that people and fans, sometimes, y'all know this, why aren't they better? Well, I mean, experience plays a big factor.
That's right.
Yeah, and ain't nothing really. I mean, she knows what it is and how things go, and I hate it for Russell and the team because it affects everybody. But we'll move out of college and we'll move out of high school. We'll go into college b-ball, Todd. That's kind of your category, and we'll talk about
Yeah, we'll talk
Alabama,
about
Arkansas.
some local.
Well, how about that, y'all? That was,
I got to watch that one. It was a beatdown.
90-59.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
And they were both 10-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Petty.
I think Alabama's finally found their coach in terms of basketball.
I agree. Yeah.
I wouldn't yet compare him to Nick Saban in football terms,
Right now, yeah.
but he's pretty darn close when it comes to Alabama basketball. Because if you ever followed Alabama basketball, they've not been that good in basketball.
No.
I think Nate Oates has finally got them going. I mean, they're number 1 in the SEC. They're undefeated in SEC play, I think.
They are.
Yes, they are.
And they're number 1 in the SEC. And Coach Oates has finally got the tide rolling in basketball.
We were just talking about how good Arkansas was.
Yeah, right.
last
Oh,
week.
they beat Georgia 99-70 something
And
the other day.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you come in saying that Alabama would beat Tennessee, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, and Kentucky
In basketball?
In basketball.
Beat
Basketball?
Kentucky 20
Yeah.
Yeah.
By 20. Who would ever thought
at
that?
Rupp Arena.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
But that
yeah.
has not happened since 90.
It hasn't happened since
They
It's
said
been a
day.
while.
They
since
said
the
a day.
great cows.
The only other
It was like
South
sometime I was in
Carolina
Yeah.
was undefeated, but I think they'd only played like one conference game. They got beat the other day, so it left Alabama as the only undefeated SEC team.
The best record in the SEC is Tennessee at 10-1, but Alabama is winning the SEC.
That's right, yeah.
With 11-3.
Yep.
Also, Arkansas 10-4. Auburn beat Kentucky 66-59. I was talking to Tony about that earlier, which I've been praying for this for years. But not for Kentucky to get beat by Auburn, but the fans are starting to really get on Calipari.
You're
They
right.
are.
Yeah.
He's getting a name for being more worried about them going pro than winning.
That's right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
and he actually had a pro player come out the other day, and the quote was that he don't give a crap about winning.
Yeah, Calipari has not been known for losing.
He does not lose.
He don't lose much,
But-
but you know when you start losing these SEC games,
Mm-hmm.
especially to teams that you're not used to losing to, your seat gets a little hot.
And he's saying some stuff that's not. It's getting him in some hot
Yeah.
water. He had a couple of players that were not going pro doing real well yesterday. He didn't play them much in the second half, and his response was that he didn't want to dishearten the others by benching them. I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense. So he's under more heat than he's ever been at Kentucky, but mostly people just thinks he don't care.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
just
About
Google
winning.
his name right now and click on news and look down at the
Oh,
first
my
15
God. He's getting eat
Yeah.
alive.
He's getting eat up. Yeah.
Mintz and Toppin both scored like 10 or 12 in those games. They did pretty good. Auburn's Flanagan, Cooper, and Cambridge all had about 20 or 10.
That Cooper's good.
Flanagan
Yeah.
was 21-9-1. Cooper was 11-3-8. I didn't watch all. I seen the first part of it. I kind of thought Kentucky would beat Auburn because Auburn's going through they're going through some spurt. They hadn't won a conference. Is that not their first conference win?
I think so.
Am I right?
You're
I
right.
think so.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they're sitting 11th in the SEC right now.
and another thing people's getting on him about, like the one guy said that he came in after they lost in the Elite Eight last year and looked at the players and said, "None of you will be here next year. You're not playing college ball anymore. Your time here's done." And every one of them were underclassmen.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just odd. He's odd. I think he's odd bird.
I'll tell you this: John Petty's good. He is a
John Petty's
he is
good for
an incredible
Alabama,
basketball
yeah.
player. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
solid.
Shackelford's fun to watch
Yeah,
as well
yeah.
on offense.
Yeah. Alabama.
Rusty Shackelford.
Rusty.
Everybody knows
Rusty
who-
Shackelford.
Rusty
Yeah,
Shackelford.
the king of the hill.
That's the name
Oh.
you order pizza by.
That's the name that.
Herb Jones is good too.
Well, this week's going to be fun
For
to watch
Alabama.
because Alabama has two big games coming up this week.
Who they got?
LSU on Tuesday and then Mississippi State Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So two big SEC matchups with them to see if they can run. But that's usually a fun matchup, especially with Mississippi State. To watch them play.
We're used to seeing
past years.
we're used to seeing good Bama football. We're not used to seeing good Bama
Not
basketball.
great anyway.
So
huh?
not
And-
great. Yeah.
And I was really excited when Avery came on board. I really liked
Yeah.
watching Avery coach. I
Yeah.
really liked his personality. He was recruiting. I really liked him. But, I mean, we're missing free throw, just little stuff, the details. And it really seems that Oak has really come in here and put him on focus. I mean, I was watching the other day, and we're actually doing really well with something like free throws. And in the past, that's something that killed Alabama. Would have come down to losing games 4 points, but they were, shooting 50, 60% only from the free throw line.
Yeah.
And they've improved there. But it's fun because you can see they play well together. It's still a lot of mistakes. That Alabama-Auburn game, there was a lot of mistakes made for both of them. It was young, but you can definitely tell that they really kind of went down to the basics, and they're starting to do things. It's kind of like you tore it down, rebuild it, and they're doing the small things right, and they're getting better from there.
That's where it starts. Good foundation.
Well,
Right?
they
It's just
Yeah.
cleaner ball.
well they got players hanging around too.
Yes,
I'm sure
yeah.
Petty could have
Yes.
moved on,
He could have moved on to the NBA. But
and he's not.
No.
So Sean just called me.
He ain't watching.
And he don't, yeah, our friends don't watch.
Closest people don't they?
Some of them does. Sean actually does.
They're playing better as a group, and it's a good time to be getting to play. And we hope that March Madness will stay in March and not push to April.
I don't think
So,
that's
yeah.
going to happen.
We hope it's just
we,
going
we got through a college football season. Maybe we get through a basketball season too.
So it's shaping up kind of like, I guess, Alabama and Tennessee, or they're
Well,
gonna
right
be-
now there's a long time to go, and you know how basketball is.
and Gonzaga, they're gonna
They're dominating.
You certainly got to
everybody.
think Alabama's a favorite for the SEC
right, yeah.
championship come tournament time.
Yeah, are we ranked in the 25 of the?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The Nuts one's about to come out. They expect them to. They were 24th in the coaches poll this last week.
Right.
They broke it. They were sitting outside of like 26. But some of the top guys have them as high as 15 coming up in this next
So
poll.
who-
I don't think it'll go Alabama.
Is it Gonzaga,
Yeah,
Iowa?
Gonzaga's first. I can't remember the rest going down, but I was watching some of the stuff and reading this week that they definitely expect them to be in the AP top 25, and some experts saying that they would put them as high as in the teens already.
Wow.
So definitely probably one of the best
Tennessee
teams.
was ranked very high when
Yeah,
Alabama
I
beat
don't see
them.
how we couldn't, have a
Yeah,
shot.
no,
to get in
they're
there.
good enough to be there. That's for sure. They're
Yeah,
definitely good enough to
Gonzaga,
be there.
Baylor,
Baylor's very
Villanova,
good.
Texas, Iowa. Kansas is at 6. Tennessee's at 10. Duke's 19.
A lot of upsets.
Oh,
Yeah, it has been.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Michigan upset
Yeah.
Wisconsin by 25 Tuesday.
UConn
Yeah.
rounds
Then
out
Minnesota upset Michigan yesterday.
Saw that yesterday. Yeah.
UConn rounds out the 25. UConn's at 25.
Villanova's still in there. That guy's a good coach.
Oh yeah, they're always going to be competitive. So any of those teams there, Texas has always been hanging around. They're 10-1 right now.
They stay up there usually.
Yeah, and of course the Jayhawks, man. They've been there in the '90s when I was watching.
Oh yeah, Kansas.
And I wouldn't expect Kentucky to be down long. I mean,
But
but
that's
you know,
weird when you're looking in the
And you don't
Kentucky,
see
where they
Kentucky,
are,
yeah.
Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah,
all
you're
that.
used to seeing those two teams, Kentucky and
Yeah.
Duke. In
But
the
I will
five
say-
at least, yeah.
if you're going to be a Duke or Kentucky fan, then you're just going to be have to be more satisfied and get more comfort out of your players going pro than winning a championship.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Well, there's
you
no
know, I'll stick with Alabama personally, and I went on record there for my Kentucky people.
there's just no. And,
I used to be a big
And
Kentucky
he's been
fan.
saying this for a long time, and we give him a hard time about it, and we aggravate him about it, but we know what he's saying. It's just Calipari. There's no, what is his thought process to be able to keep players there? Because you obviously want to be competitive and win
Well,
a championship.
it's almost like you get content. You get so content, you just don't think about losing. You just
Mhm.
get so content with winning championships year after year. You just
Mhm.
he
get
encourages
content with it.
the,
Yeah.
He encourages them to make
Yeah.
to
it.
lead.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. Me and him disagree somewhat on it. But in the mainstream, yeah. But on the other side of it is, kids that are misfortunate and have terrible home lives and they need to move on. And there is cases that way, most definitely.
Yes,
But not all of them.
No, every one of them's not a
Yeah,
heartbreaking story.
yeah, living
I mean-
homeless or living in their car and they, their mom's under some kind of huge medical debts. And that's great for those guys to be able to move on. But,
All right, let's
What are you
move on.
gonna
I'll
do?
get mad talking about
yeah,
that.
that's right. When I do this, I poke him on the table. Well, yeah.
Well, I got to come out against him because I don't agree with him, and I
That
can't
nobody
sit here
does.
and.
But you've been saying it for a long time, and now people are also saying, "Yeah, that's right. It's not the right thing to do."
Well, no. Bring players in for a year. That's pretty much what he does. They just roll in and roll out. I mean, you look at Herb Jones, Shackelford, and Petty, who are Alabama's best three players. They've been there 4 years, right?
Well, and then you've got the difference in the rules with going because you can go straight from high school
Yeah.
into the NBA. Where like with college, obviously you got to wait till your junior year to go in. So
Why
it's so
wouldn't
much easier to pull out with basketball. I'm not wondering for the sport overall if it wouldn't
Have
be
a
better to
change.
have that type rule in
And
basketball.
I think it would be.
Yeah.
For the sport as a whole to have it instead of having these kids come in there and like you say take a year and then
1
how
year.
many 19-year-olds are going to turn down that money?
Oh, I
and
know.
They don't even understand
I know.
the benefit of staying and getting better a little bit and increasing your stock. But that's just one thing with basketball. It's just so much different because you can go straight out of the high school gym right
Straight
here
to
and be
the pro.
playing for the NBA.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they ought to go back to that. Instead of, what's the point of coming and playing for a year?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, you got guys like him that's just eating it up. Well, we're going to be great. Man, you got 8 freshmen out
Well, I
there.
think the problem is it may have been okay for some point of time, but now you got teams building players that are staying and playing.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
They can't play with him.
right, one and done is not winning it.
No.
No.
So you need to groom them, keep them there.
Has it ever?
No. It's never worked.
I know I saw something where there's been 3 teams with 3 freshman starters win it. There's never been a team with 4. Connecticut, Duke, and Kentucky with 3 freshmen
And
starters.
those are all three of one of the best.
The best basketball programs in the country.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Great
Yeah.
coaches.
Yeah.
but no, it's not regular. It's not. It doesn't happen regularly. All right, we can move on from that. So.
Well, we will move right into the big game that happened down there in the Orange City of Miami.
Was there one?
I think
I didn't see it. What are you
Alabama
talking
played
about?
somebody.
It was a pretty good one.
The
Dolphins?
number, the
So I'm
number,
told anyway.
the number 11th ranked team showed up and played.
Were they?
Number
That's
one.
what Dabo.
It's number 1
I wonder
ranked
how
team.
Dabo feels about that comment.
He said it.
People didn't listen to the entire
No,
thing.
they
They've
didn't.
been
You're
giving
right.
him heck, not listening
Our
to
whole
what he
society
said.
does that. They pick 3 words and they say, "Well, he said he don't like these
People
people."
didn't fully understand what he
He went
meant.
on and said in that same breath when he said that about why he ranked 11th, they may be the best team in the country, but nobody played that few games deserve to be in. I mean, I agree with him.
I do too.
Yeah, I did.
I think
6
a lot of people-
games.
And I've wondered.
A lot of people
6, 7, 8. They
and
played
I-
8, right?
I've told guys this too. I've wondered if Trey Sermon stays healthy through the whole game, if Justin Fields is healthy through the whole game, what kind of a ball game are we looking
What
at?
kind
I
of
don't-
luck is that,
yeah,
guys?
I don't think it.
I'm an Alabama fan, but what kind of luck is that for a guy that
Right.
gained 524 yards in 2
And he
games?
goes out in the first possession.
First play.
Yeah, I think had he stayed healthy, if Justin Fields was 100%, I don't think Alabama loses, but I think we're looking at a lot closer ball game
Right.
if Ohio State stays.
Now the
100%
Master
healthy.
Teague was at the.
Master Teague is, and he's
He's
good.
very good.
He is
good.
incredible.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't think it matters in the long run because the lines,
Mhm.
the way those lines matched
Yeah.
up, Alabama's lines just dominate.
Yeah, Teague rushed for 65 yards. He had 65 yards. He had 2
He ran
touchdowns.
hard.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think they ever could have stopped
He's not
Alabama.
bad.
I'll say Alabama came to play, boys, and I'll tell you that they came to play.
They could
and-
have. It was 52-24 for anybody that didn't watch, or if you're watching the show, you
And I'm
probably
telling you,
watched
had
college football last
Devontae
night.
Smith stayed healthy,
I know.
I wouldn't be
Oh,
surprised
he'd
if
been
Alabama
fine.
scored 70.
12 for
At
25.
halftime,
Yeah.
he had
200
outgained
yards.
the entire Ohio State
Yeah,
team.
I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd scored 70. If they
He's
scored
just such
70
a
points. Yeah.
great route runner. and he's-
1,800 yards receiving.
He's a little bitty small guy. He won every award that you could ever win. No
Should
Alabama player, no receivers won.
And
in the
barely
last
weighs over 150 pounds.
30
soaking wet.
years. No, I know.
Yeah,
Was he from Texas?
he's actually from Louisiana.
Yeah,
Louisiana.
Okay, I think I read something where he had a 2,000 yard receiving year in
He's
high
from
school,
Louisiana.
which he nearly did in college. I don't know if anybody's ever
Well,
had 2,000.
we're going to be
yards
seeing him on
receiving.
Sundays, no doubt.
Yeah,
about
he's just
that.
he's like
He's going to put a little weight on him in the league.
Yeah, he's going to put some meat on them bones.
He's
Yeah.
going to have to buff up just a little bit.
Yeah, you
He's
start
probably
getting
one of
bombs.
the best players I've ever seen.
Oh, he's
I
awesome.
mean,
yeah. Well, Saban. Let's talk about this. Saban, moves ahead. 6 rings there, 7 total overall, right? So,
Yes.
Passes Bear, right?
Yeah,
That's
he did.
better.
and I
Pass the
think
bear, yeah.
I think we all probably heard what Nick said, and I think, and I'm not being a homer. I'm trying not to be. He answered that question about Bear fantastically, perfect. He give all homage back to him, saying, you know what? Without him, this college wouldn't be what it is.
That's right. Yeah.
Without those old coaches like Coach Red that started this in the first Rose Bowls to Bear, and Bear won 75 more games or so than Nick has at this point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
But Bear had been there at Alabama 10, 15 more years than Nick has if we're taking time lapses from Bear to now. So Nick has 10 more years, but does he have 10 more years in him to coach? That's my question. What do you think about him moving on with all these coaches leaving? And
His statement on it that I heard that played the most to that was he said his mom was playing competitive golf when she was 89. He'd like to tie her record.
well, there you go.
I just can't see him
I don't
coaching
see it.
Well,
10 more years.
I've said this, and I'm a diehard Alabama fan, and Tony is too. And there's nothing else for him to gain. I mean, he's done it all. He's won the national championship.
But I think he's so competitive.
But he's so competitive. I just don't think he's going to give it up. He's had Heisman winners. He's got tons of national titles. He's got tons of SEC championships. Coach of the year.
What is he? I mean, yeah, you're right.
I just
What
don't
else
think.
can he do?
I just don't think
I
he's
had a
going to give it
guy
up.
ask me the other day. This was a quote. I won't tell you who the guy was. It's funny though. He said, "What has he got to be driven for anymore?"
Yeah, I mean, what else has he got to gain? He's done it all. He's accomplished it all in college football.
Well, you notice he got fired up over there on the sideline when we start putting in second team, and it's that story I told you about Benefield when they were playing up at North Sand Mountain, and the story goes that one of the kids broke on a pass, laid on the ball,
Mm-hmm.
it got overthrown, Fife gets scored on, so it makes it 56-6. Well, Paul brings the kid over and is chewing him out, and the ref says, "Hey, coach, come on, it's 56-6, lighten up." And he said, "You worry about calling the plays. I'm coaching the kids."
I don't.
Because when I sent the second team kid in, it's now 0-0.
That's right.
And that's why Nick does it. That's
I was
why
gonna say, I
people
don't-
don't figure out why he's screaming when they're up 50-0. It's because it's 0-0 in his mind. I'm putting out a new team. You hadn't scored. You have proven nothing.
I don't think I've ever seen a coach, and I could be wrong. I don't think I've ever seen a coach get a penalty for yelling at his own players.
He did.
No,
And Nick
he did.
Saban did.
Notre
The
Dame
Notre
game.
Dame
And he did.
Yeah,
And
he
during the Notre Dame game. Yeah.
Yeah. You could flip
For
the
yelling at his own
SEC
kids. Yeah.
network and watch the game from the SEC box. Had the box always on him. Eli Gold's
With
talking.
Eli.
Yeah.
That was great, by the
I
way.
don't think I've ever seen another
We did that a
coach
good bit.
That's
get
great.
penalized for yelling at his own kids. But
Yeah, he kind of looked at
He
the ref.
did.
He kind of looked inside.
Yeah.
Why don't you know
My
who I
kids,
am,
man. Yeah.
Don't throw
These
a
are my
flag on me.
kids.
I'm Nick Saban, boy. Don't you know? No, I'll smack you.
Yeah, I tell you, he's the greatest of all time. I mean, we could say
I think
that.
he's gonna hang around.
I'd say 5 more years at
I'd
least.
say so. I'd say. I mean,
He's kind of said, he goes, when I'll hang it up is when I'm not winning like this, when I'm not competing for a title.
and I'm going to be honest. I don't
See that
foresee. I
happening.
don't foresee that happening. Yeah. I don't ever see Nick Saban not having a winning season.
Do we think that Mac Jones, 36 or 45 with 5 touchdowns, and Harris had 80 and 79 receiving for one?
Wow.
Mac Jones being top of the list FBS for percentages and top of the list for completion yards.
Has the highest QBR ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, by 1 point, wasn't it?
Colt
Yeah.
McCoy was second,
Yeah, that's
and
Yeah, he was.
I thought Burrow was second.
Sterling,
Burrow was third, and Colt McCoy was second on the.
yeah.
So is this bumped his? I mean, is he going to
I don't know. I think Devontae Smith did a lot
Well,
for
and
him.
we talk about Devontae
I
Smith.
think he's great.
Well, hit the line he had to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
watch him; he's so comfortable. Now the thing that I like with Mac, and you watch his mind, the problem we've had, even with the good quarterbacks like Tua, and even sometimes Jalen, is going through their progressions.
That's right. Yeah.
They've never really
Mhm.
they get that one guy. Mac Jones goes through his progressions
Mhm.
cleaner and faster than I've ever seen a quarterback
Yeah.
do in college.
He reminds me of a Tom Brady. That's
And
what
then
he
he'll-
does.
And I've
He's
heard him
good.
compared to
His
Tom
touch,
Brady.
or Drew Brees.
Or
He
Drew
reminds me a
Brees,
lot
yeah.
of
He's
Drew
not going
Brees
to
style.
rush. He's not going to get you
But
no
if you
yards.
watch where he's putting that ball to him, it's just so clean. His placement is just so
Mm.
perfect, and that's where he
I hope Mac gets. I'm saying he'll go 20th.
I think
He
again,
may
kinda
win
I
like
don't
third.
think he's too high on the list,
I
but
think
I'm
he's
sure
gonna
he'll
have to beef
go.
up a little bit, and
Mhm.
You see that picture that Josh Hampton, and shout out to Josh. I talked
I
to
saw
him.
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
saw
I saw
that.
that picture.
I
Yeah.
talked to him this morning while he was home. They was doing some hiking with some friends. Said hello to him, asked him if he could stop by and stick his head in. He was on a run. He's got to get back to Tuscaloosa because Saban runs a tight ship. So Big Camp glad to get to talk to him.
What did they go back to Saban for?
Well, we're getting ready, man.
Boss man said so.
Oh, I thought you meant this week.
Yeah, no, I mean like in the morning, like he's got to be back at,
For what?
because it's work. It's
Start for
Alabama.
next season.
there-
He don't play next year. We talking about Mac Jones or Josh?
No, we're talking about Josh.
Oh, I thought you was talking about Mac Jones.
No, we're talking about Big Hamp. So I talked to him a little bit, and they're just going to get ready to start rolling out some more. And they got a fantastic recruiting class coming in.
Really?
All right. Yeah.
Oh.
This
Well, that's
is
the other thing.
maybe his best class ever.
When you look at this
Wow.
class, you go back and look at the 2017 recruiting class that these guys were on, and look what they accomplished.
It's
And the quality of players and what went in. It was unbelievable.
It's
Never
these
seen
guys.
anything like it. And then this class coming in now is probably the highest ranked class ever.
Yeah.
Even more talented on paper and by the numbers than this class that's leaving.
I'm going to make a prediction. Well, was it Anderson? Is it Will? Number 31?
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be one of the best. He'll be an All-American one
Well,
day.
here's the thing about
yeah,
it.
they got.
He made 37 tackles behind the line his
You-
senior year in high school.
You talk about Devontae Smith winning the Heisman.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about how good he is. Non-Alabama fans may not know. He was the number 2 receiver on the team.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the number 1 receiver
No,
on the
Waddle
team.
was.
He was behind Jalen Waddle.
I saw somebody say
Your number 2
put that.
receiver won the Heisman Trophy.
Michie,
I mean,
Michie was 8 for
Michie's
80.
good.
He had
John
8
Michie's
catches
good.
for 81
That-
yards.
That hit
we've talked about
in the
John
Florida
Mitchell.
game
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
that was picked off. I said, "Hey, start him at middle linebacker." The way he went in there and lit that
I
Florida guy up,
know.
got the
He'll get a
ball
little
back.
defensive time. I'll put him on special
The
teams.
beginning of the
hardest hit of
season,
the year.
nobody knew who John Mitchell was at the beginning of the season.
In Canada.
Yeah, we talked about
He played high school football
Yeah.
in Canada.
In Canada.
Yeah, Waddle had 3 catches for 34 yards. Harrison
Man.
Barmore had 3 tackles. Barmore
So,
had
you know,
one
to have
sack.
your number 2 receiver win the Heisman Trophy, I mean that tells you right there what kind of talent.
What did you think
They're
watching
bringing in.
Waddle coming in, seeing how much pain he was in,
Mhm.
wanting to get
And
in
did it
there,
anyway,
and
man.
He's a
that
trooper.
3 balls went his way, caught all 3. That one,
34 yards.
He got that little shuffle
Yeah,
pass.
yeah.
Mac was under pressure and
Yeah.
hit it, but you could tell how bad he was
Yeah.
hurting. And I saw where a lot of the NFL guys were giving a little heat towards him and Saban for allowing him to.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I said, now you can tell the end of these guys, they think it's all about the money, but you see a kid who cares about his team, is a
That's right.
soldier,
That's
who
exactly
wants
right.
to be
See,
there.
you got one thing.
and,
We got what we were talking about a while ago. Then you got what goes on in Alabama.
That's right. Yeah.
and just to see him want to be there
Mhm.
and to contribute, be on the field, and to watch him get out there in that kind of pain to play just tells you what it means to these guys.
Yeah, he's a
And,
teammate.
motivated.
It's important to him to play with his team.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
Well,
cool
more than
watching
likely. I mean, let's be for real. Are you going to have an injury that you never? How many players do y'all know has had an injury where they never got to sign a
The only one that I can
Contract.
think of right off the bat, Tyrone Prothero was the only one.
only one?
He's the only one I can think of in recent years that had an injury where he just didn't play again.
Never could play.
Never
Never,
could play.
made his money.
Never made his money.
Lattimore even signed
Yeah,
to somebody.
yeah. Marcus
didn't
Lattimore even signed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem with that one with Prothro, the only reason he was in that game playing was he was trying to set a personal
That's
record.
right. That's it.
And again, he asked to come in, wanted to play.
Yeah,
with should have been
Sheila,
on the
because
bench.
we
He took a
were
lot
all
of heat over that.
we were yelling at Sheila like, "We're up 50-0. What are you doing?" But those injuries, they sleep with that on their mind. But I'm telling you guys, these kids want to play football, they're not thinking about that. And for you to play that bowl game and to step up, it's not going to affect something that's going to happen 3
No.
months from now when you go to the draft.
More
If
than
you're
likely
able to
not.
play like Pitts, I was very disappointed in them for not playing.
Pitts and Tony.
Tony, I don't get it, man.
Well, I mean,
That's what I said. If I'm one of these guys in the NFL evaluating, and I already know his skill to see that kind of heart dedication and ability to come through paper,
Mhm.
to me that boosts him.
That's right.
In my evaluation,
To me, it
watching
does
him
too.
compared to just the talent I already know he has.
Well, that North Carolina, I mean, their 2 running backs opted out, and their receiver, and they still nearly.
It hurt them.
I think they're going to be contenders before too long,
And
anyway.
you look at guys
I like Matt Brown.
Yeah,
North
yeah,
Carolina,
Yeah,
they-
man, yeah.
Now,
Look at guys like Landon Dickerson.
That was
I
awesome.
mean, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Come in, takes the final snap. Didn't look like he was hurt one bit. I mean, he
I
carried
know.
Coach Saban off the
I know.
field.
When we saw him with pregame, that's the first I looked. I said, he's got his pads.
He was in
on.
full
Boy, he
pads,
had-
Marcus said,
he was warming up.
That's
Yeah.
Marcus said, Dad, his wrists are taped. He's got his glove on. He's
Carried
gonna play.
carried Saban off the field. I mean,
And at first, I didn't think Saban had approved for him to go in.
Because I seen him go to him, he was like,
Yeah.
and he went.
And you knew what he was pleading for, but then you show Saban on the sideline putting his hand. I said, Saban didn't tell him yes. He just ran on the field. But he said later he did tell him yes.
Yeah.
Saban again was like, "Hey, why are you out there hugging? Snap the ball."
Yes,
That
he about got
still
mad because
coaching.
they
He
were
was
out there.
getting
Oh,
mad.
welcome back, buddy. And
But
it's like
watch
10,
every teammate
9.
Oh, I know.
sit there and
Hey.
meet him. That just tells you the kind of heart. If you watch him through a game, he is a motivator.
Yeah.
Like he gets them up, and to watch that was just one of the coolest things I've
Marcus,
seen in a while.
he likes that line.
he's going to make his money on Sunday too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Sean Kilgrove said he wants us to do some 2-on-2 drills.
Okay.
We got you, Sean.
We
What,
got,
basketball, football,
we got a small room here.
Yeah.
covering,
Some ball in
what?
the ring.
We may break some of Todd's windows, but
Now, what did y'all think about, Fields only got to run for 67 yards. He threw for almost 200 because Olivier had 70 and Wilson had 50 for a touchdown.
I didn't
So,
think he played good.
I think we touched on that a little bit earlier, like the injury.
I think he was playing through that injury.
If he
He
was
was.
hurt, because a running quarterback definitely hurts Alabama. So you think
He's a
healthy-
tough kid, and he was playing
Yeah.
through that injury, and you could tell that it was hurting him. But he was trying to do what he could do for his team to get the championship,
Yeah.
and that speaks to what we were talking about just a minute ago with Landon. I mean, he was trying to do what he could do to get a win for his team, and he knew he was hurt. He knew he probably shouldn't have been playing, and I think he even made a comment to that effect.
Yeah, and then
After the
watching him
game,
in the
you talking
Clemson
about-
game,
Oh,
playing
man.
through the
yeah.
lane he played in, he's a tough kid. But on the other hand, again, just the defense. If you watch them, their offensive line is good. Ohio State's offensive line is good. But the competition they play in the Big Ten, they are the big boys. They are the most physical. They are the fastest.
Mhm.
And they were just outmatched for the first time. Like when they get out there in that line, even when he had time, normally he's got this big pocket to throw, but even when he was standing throwing, they were pushing him up,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
pocket was small. You could see him leaning and turning, trying to see around. He was just harassed. He never got
No,
comfortable.
it never comes.
And that big 58, I don't think he might have got credited with one sack. I know he
Yeah,
had one
yeah.
brutal sack,
Yeah,
but
they credited
he
him.
was pushing him out of where he wanted to be and moving them guys around and then running through blocks all night. And he just didn't have the time. Normally, you watch him, he sets. He gets where he needs to be. He drifts out and he's got a shot. He was right there with the pocket collapsing on him all night and just
Well,
never could get comfortable.
Harris
Wow.
and Joe and Battle, they played good on the back end. Ohio
By the way,
State,
they're all coming back. By the way.
Yeah.
Battle got kicked. He got the boot.
Yeah,
they didn't even throw for 200 yards against Bama. Bama threw for 464.
we're not even going to talk about that. Tom.
We had the ball for 37
Oh, him getting
minutes.
the
We'll
boot.
talk about that.
And no, don't get me started. Now I'll get fired up.
Well, no,
Don't get
he
Tony
probably.
started.
Well, as far as that, I don't like him throwing them out, but he did
Stop
it.
throwing him out. Stop
Yeah.
throwing him out.
Yeah, well, you got to stop that.
They had the ball for 22 minutes, so time of possession, and we even fumbled the ball once. So, and going back and I watched the game again, and in retrospect, guys, Ohio State drove the field like after halftime, and then one other time they kind of had 2 real scores. But other than that, they really wasn't very successful.
No.
Held them like 6 of 14 on third down.
Mate,
Which was huge, 2 on fourth down, 2 conversions on down.
Make no mistake, they beat a really good Clemson team, and they beat them soundly. And
That
I know Ohio State only played
But
6 games this
By,
year.
by midway through the third quarter, though, you could see
Yeah.
them boys want to get on the bus and get out.
Yeah,
of there.
they
knew
were ready to go.
whooped.
Yeah.
They knew it was done. They knew they weren't coming back. They just wanted to get on out of there.
Yep.
Now the players coming back, we'll move into that a little bit. Daniel Wright, number 3 for Bama, defensive back, 60 tackles, 43 solo, and 2 interceptions. He'll be back. Fendarian Mathis, number 48, 31 tackles. The D-line guy had 16 solo tackles. Job's coming back, and then the Chris Allen guy. I'm really excited about Chris Allen.
Yes.
Battle's
yeah.
back too, right?
Yeah, Battle will be
That'll
back too.
back.
Allen had
Okay,
40
Anderson.
tackles, 6 sacks. Guy 6'4", 260, had 13 tackles for a loss. Pass rusher beast. He was second in the SEC with tackles for a loss. D-line player of the week versus A&M, which A&M, keep your eyes up for them next year. So if he was the player of the week against probably one of Bama's better teams for the week,
Yeah.
wow. I mean,
I see you got Robinson back. He did.
Yes,
He had a good
Robinson's
game.
coming
Coming
back.
He runs hard.
He's solid. Kind of reminds me a little of T.J. Yeldon,
Yep.
like with his attitude and how he runs
Yep.
and just his motivation.
he runs over his pads, good footwork. I like him too. Who you got? Y'all know you got some more stuff, Tony.
Yeah, well, I was saying those guys you're talking about, Mathis is coming back, Daniel Wright, and one of the things I think these guys saw, and we were talking about this for the basketball a while ago, is you look, because Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, Devontae Smith all could have left last year.
Mhm.
Were expected to leave. They decided to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae wins the Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
Najee comes up to fifth. You look at how they improved their stock by spending another year being coached under Saban and under this and everything
Right.
that did. I think a lot of these guys are really seeing that benefit
Mm-hmm.
of the players that have elected to do that for Alabama and how it's benefited them for their pro career. And I think
Right.
we're seeing more of it from them seeing it from these guys.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think why Saban has the most success that he has is because of the success in recruiting. But the reason of that is how he honestly evaluates and does what's best for the players. And all these players have said it. When they choose to come back or whether they choose to go, they said he sits down, brings in outside sort of numbers, and basically says, here's what I recommend. He does not hold anybody back from going. And if he thinks it's time, he kicks them out the nest
think
with
it's
all
good.
support. But if they're not, he
He's a good
develops them. And
He
I think
tells
these kids see this, and I think that's why a lot of these caliber kids he's being able to pretty much so cherry picking the recruiting because they see that. But he does it with his coaches as well.
Yep.
You see the quality. When we get into the coaching turnover here in a minute, you will see the list of names that are
Chris
just
Jones.
leaving this year is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he does the same thing. He brings a coach in. You give me 100% do your job. I'm going to get you ready, and I want to support you. When it's your turn to go be a head coach or go somewhere else, you're going to have nothing but support. Listen to, as funny as Lane Kiffin can be and snarky as he can be, listen to him sing his praises.
Oh, I know.
Listen to what Sark said when he took the Texas job and left. He does it for the coaches. So I think that's why people want to play and coach for him, because they know he's going to give them 100% investment, but then he's going to support them for what they do. And I think that's a lot of
Your
why the
return
program has
is
the
to be
success.
a head coach.
Well, I mean, and you've seen Lane Kiffin. He made some tweets during the national championship
He was
game.
there.
He was there in support of Alabama.
With all the Alabama,
With all the
former
Alabama
pro
folks
players.
around him, yeah.
And he said, I want to get here with Ole Miss one day, but for tonight, roll tide.
I mean, you look at other players. I mean,
Did you know they had the best offense in the SEC?
yeah, no
Yeah.
miss torch.
I remember playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yardage.
They were the only
Stat
team that
line.
come anywhere close to beating
Well,
Alabama.
they have 700 something. What was it?
They averaged 566.
Game,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Or they hung
Yeah.
like 680 on that.
Oh yeah, they had
They hung
650.
almost 700 yards on Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's
Did they have a lot of guys coming back?
I hadn't looked into them.
No, their defense might have been the worst in the conference, besides maybe
They were
Vandy.
the only team to come anywhere
Which it wasn't
close.
just a matter of years ago. They had one of the best in the country.
You're right. Yep.
That's been the crazy thing. Would you think that with LSU last year, Alabama, what they've done, what Ole Miss is doing, in a period of 4 or 5 years, you would go to having SEC teams averaging 500 points a game
No.
or 500 yards a game?
Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how quickly
Mhm.
it flipped to what it did to the offensive side. And it's,
Feinbaum and Greg Mack were talking about that one day before the game, maybe, and he could say, from a personal standpoint, and me being, the quarterback at Bama when it kind of started off, when we got it started, we were just, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and Mark Ingram and Julio Jones, and
Yeah.
he said, could you imagine? Feinbaum or Greg one brought up the point. What if Julio takes, let's say he takes Devontae Smith's spot, and just with this offensive start, he would
Yeah.
have broken all kind of records.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you could just see how much football has changed, and it's not a defensive game anymore. Those days with Dante Hightower and the Reggie Raglins,
Terrence
and
Cody.
those days are
it's
just
not
kind
the
of
first
done.
time you've seen it
No.
kind of go to that. I think it will eventually settle down and return to more. I mean, you look at when Spurrier, when they, the spread, when they come in there with the run and gun stuff. I mean, there's been periods where it's kind of shifted, and then it always
Yeah,
kinda
everybody's
seems
acting
to-
like it's just starting.
No,
No.
it's
Oh, no.
it's not. It's a different.
No.
But I really think in the end that still having the threat of a run game, because you look like you talked about
You have to
Ingram,
run.
some of the others. Najee, can you imagine if we weren't passing like we were and running the ball like we did? He would be insane. Still, managed to finish fifth in the Heisman.
He had like some of the best receiving yards for running back ever.
Mhm.
I love
he was
watching
a
him
good
throw to a back
I
out the
know.
backfield.
Yeah, those wheel route stuff. And
By the way, just a little off topic. One of Bama's top prospects winning Mr. Football this week. By the way,
oh, Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Kool-Aid picked
Oh,
up
don't
the-
even get me
He's going to
started.
get
Mr.
he
Football
better
award.
fire tied up.
We watched them play there.
Seven-
Hey, I saw something.
But I understand
Couple
what
weeks ago,
Tony's saying.
I don't know if this ever transpired, but I saw something or I heard something on Fox Sports Radio a couple of weeks ago where I think Coach Oates was actually trying to convince him to come play
Yeah,
They
basketball.
said he's planning on playing
He's planning on playing
basketball.
basketball before he goes to football. Coach Oates was trying to get him to play basketball.
Oh, I'm not doubting the guy's
Yeah.
ability. I just didn't think he had the numbers for that kind of
Compared to other
accolade.
people in the state, because I'm going to tell you right now, after watching that North-South game and watched Luke Welsh play and all the guys from Fife and Levi and them, Jet Smith, this kid,
Oh, I know.
hey, you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
He is
Welterweight,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
This-
they,
I didn't even know.
Well, he
I mean,
made
I-
150 tackles and rushed.
Yeah.
He's number 2 in the state.
well,
all
they
time.
say as good as McKinstry is at football, he's equally as good at basketball. And
He's
so-
just he
Well,
probably
that's what I'm saying. He's just one of these freak athletes. And
Yeah.
that's what Todd's point said. You know, what was it, 700 yards? But
700
he's not
yards.
even a receiver
No.
when you get 700 yards. At Alabama, he's primarily going to play corner.
Right.
Well,
Now, you did say he shut down the side
Yeah,
of the field.
and people in school, you're not going to see a lot of different stats on it because they just don't throw to his side of the ball. You want
Yeah.
to take the best receiver on the team out of the game, just put him on them, and they're not even going to put him in the equation. They're not throwing.
yeah, you could see those basketball players like the old school Iverson. You ever seen his highlights from football?
Oh,
High
yeah,
school?
he had 13 interceptions.
You ever seen
one
his
year.
highlights? Please go look him up. right now.
13.
Go look up Allen Iverson high school football clips.
Oates better not get him hurt, or
Well-
somebody's gonna have
Yeah,
something
that
to
might
say.
not be.
Well, now, I've heard what y'all heard about basketball, but I've also heard that that's a little bit of a, what do you call it? This guy's a media sensation for
Oh
some
yeah,
reason.
yeah.
And they say that may just be kind of, they don't think he's that good to play D1 basketball.
Right.
Have y'all saw him play basketball?
I haven't. I just
I have
I've
not.
read multiple articles saying he was playing and they were
If,
playing.
Right.
if he plays, Nate Oates is gonna have to be easy with him, or Saban might have
And I
something
think
to
it's
say.
the nickname.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Well, what? Yeah.
What's his real name?
Probably
Who could ever have
Xavier.
Xavier
it starts with an X.
McKinstry.
Yeah.
Or,
I'm just wondering if he'd be as popular if his nickname wasn't Kool-Aid.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Marshawn Lynch was Skittles.
Yeah,
His
there
mom-
you go. Yeah.
His mom gave him Skittles when he was little and said,
and he got the biggest Skittles
This
promotion
makes
when he
you-
went to the NFL. Ever.
"This will
Yeah,
make you
it's good.
fast."
Well, he gets a lot of accolades, and I'm sure some of them deserved. But I've had a couple people tell me they didn't think he deserved the most valuable player of the
I read that.
6A football game.
Right. Yeah.
It's almost like he's just it's just McKinstry. He's going to Alabama. He's our media
He
sensation.
was highly sought after by several SEC schools.
He's an
Oh
athlete.
yeah,
Yeah, he's an athlete, no doubt.
Who was the kid that played at the Saint
St. Paul.
St. Paul's
Spanish
in
no
Mobile.
Saint Spanish Ford? They played the All Star game, and he was the defensive end. And I had his name. I brought him up on the show. Wow, this kid, he has like 180 tackles on the year, 45 for loss, 18. And he dominated that game, man. The North couldn't move the ball because of his defensive end play, and he played it. I think it was Spanish Ford. Has the ball on the side of the
I
helmet.
thought Harold would get Mr. Football, the one from Thompson. I mean, what were they ranked in the top
Yeah.
10?
Higgins, we liked
Yeah.
him early because he was just
Yeah.
pouring the numbers on. And when they lost that game, though,
Yeah,
that hurt him.
well, Harold had 4,000 yards, and they finished in the 7th in the
Yeah.
country.
I think it's a lot like what the
I mean,
Heisman's become.
It
Man,
is.
It's more of a popularity.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
darling.
well, I mean, you look at Devontae Smith's the first receiver to win it since
Yeah.
31
Desmond
years.
Howard. In
No, I
92.
actually thought he had the numbers
Yeah.
to get
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
it would have
But-
close. And you look at the numbers in the votes was amazing. Another thing I would have asked, because this is something I've been thinking about. With the Heisman, and to me it's a weird award, because how do you compare one position player to the other one? How many times does a quarterback win the best quarterback award?
Because of his
Or
receiver.
wins the Heisman without being the
O'Brien.
best quarterback. So to me, I mean, it's a weird award anyway, but why not save it until after everybody's played all the
I
games?
agree.
Because
I agree.
Kyle Trask would have not been a finalist
No.
had they waited.
You're right.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And you've seen that so many times
Smith
where
still
somebody,
would've won
even
it,
the guy who
probably.
wins it, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think they should wait because you're going to see the best players compete against each other in the playoffs in the final game. Hold off, move it back a little bit,
It's some of
and
that-
start the voting after the
I
final
agree.
game
I mean,
of the
well,
season.
you Kyle Trask and Trevor Lawrence too.
Yeah.
With his performance against Ohio
Yeah,
Ohio State. Yeah.
probably bumped him down.
Probably would have bumped him down a lot
And you
too.
would have probably bumped Najee Harris in.
Yeah.
Right.
And Trask defense, all the receive, they had 2,700 yards opt out.
Yeah.
Boy, he was just lost without
you can't
him.
You can't completely blame that on him. They had a lot of kids hurt. And they had a lot of kids opt out.
Had some
and that's-
COVID kids.
It's not his fault, but
And now you
You know,
talk
But
about
still, it
But
would have
still,
hurt
yeah,
him.
still, yeah.
somebody's going to have some holes to plug. Speaking of him, it's going to be Mullen because they're losing Trask, they're losing Kadarius Toney, they're losing Kyle Pitts, they're losing Trevor Grimes. I mean, he had like 10 targets he was throwing to.
He
Pitts
lost
and
Grimes,
Toney
too.
was-
Yeah, Grimes
they're
was
all
out too,
going. So
Yeah,
that entire offense is going to be in the NFL. Mullen's not going to have any of those guys
No,
back next year.
DeMarcus Barrington, if he's watching, we love you, buddy, and we're going to pick on you a little bit. I go on with him, on Facebook. Me and Talbert give him a little hard time. I met him up here at the church at a summer church camp, and I love him to death. And he's a big Gator fan. I was like, Marcus, that game you played against Oklahoma, those are the players you're going to have next year without that quarterback. So I can't imagine you assuming that you circle Alabama on your schedule and say we're going to win this one. Because Bama defense is going to be loaded next year. We might not be able to score 50 on everybody, but I think if we can score 28, we're probably going to win a lot of football games.
What's Nick Saban always said? Defense wins championships.
Yeah, and I just don't see Florida beating. They're going to lose a couple of games because A&M's going to be good, guys.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, do they bring everybody back? I mean, Mun's
Absolutely.
gone, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
they-
gone. Bobby Brown on defense, it was so good. I know he's gone. That's about it. There might be some more.
Spiller back.
Glancing at it, they're bringing a lot of people
A
back.
chain,
And
a Cheney.
Yeah.
What?
I
He's
made the
good.
argument before that they should have been in ahead of Ohio State. And we're talking about on
Yeah,
Dabo's
they
not
did.
having the games. And I think watching the outcome, same score, I think A&M improved some coming out through the year. I think A&M would have had a better chance, gave a better game against Alabama.
Well,
had they been in.
Jimbo, he has played in the title game, so he did beat Auburn
He's
that
good.
year. I mean,
He's good.
He's a good coach. He's another DeSaban disciple. As we're watching the Bills play yesterday, before we move on to our coaches, Sylvia said, now she kind of watches as she's on her phone. I'm watching. She said, "The ball, didn't he play at Alabama?" I said, "No, he's the coordinator." She's like, "Oh yeah," and then they say all these, all these players and coaches everywhere on both sides are from Alabama. So this coaching tree from Alabama that we're fixing to roll into, it's got fingers in so many parts of the nation, and we're sure that Bill O'Brien is coming to be your offensive coach. Sark has taken Jeff Banks as tight end, Kyle Flood as offensive line, AJ
Milwee. He's from Boaz, is he not?
Yeah.
quarterback coach. He's taking
Yeah,
him with him.
Charlie Strong's gone.
And Wiggins
Yeah.
is going to be the other coach, and Strong is supposed to be going to the Jaguars.
Jaguars with Urban, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now here's something interesting that kind of, and I'll ask you all about this. Now we know about Butch going to Arkansas State. Our tight end coach and Gordon Steele, our line is both going to South Alabama, and the kid, the tight end guy, he's going to Arkansas State with Butch Jones, and Applewhite's going to South Alabama with Robin and
Right.
Gordon Steele. But we've heard that I've read yet last night that Golden, our defensive coach, is possibly going to.
Who improved a lot.
Yeah, he's
over
going-
the years.
He did.
He did improve a whole lot.
He's going
yeah.
to the Texans.
Really?
Well, it seems
Like
like
Mark Stoops, maybe going to Mizzou.
That's
His
right,
DC
yeah.
as well.
it seems like every time Alabama wins a national title, this big coaching carousel amongst their assistants happens, but it doesn't seem like it affects them much the season after.
I know.
It's like
Well,
Nick
but-
Saban just locks and loads and plugs the hole.
I think it does a little bit though. 'Cause if you look,
The next year we don't do good, and then the next
Yeah.
year we win.
right,
It
every
takes-
other
it takes a
year,
season,
and
yeah.
exactly.
But
yeah.
still, that's amazing, though.
I
It
think
takes a season to
When
build
you
them
look
up.
at the names that you just said that have been head coaches that are good, come on, Mark Stoops,
Head coaches
Steve
at big time
Sarkisian,
schools.
Major Applewhite, Butch Jones, Charlie Strong. To have those names on a single staff at one time is
That's
unbelievable.
I got two more
Incredible.
names for you. Kevin Sumlin may be taking our tight ends coach
Yep.
spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Muschamp may be the D coach if
Yeah.
Golden goes to
Yeah.
Texas.
I was surprised he didn't
Yeah.
go. Where was that Muschamp
Yeah.
could have gone? Texas,
It was
right?
Texas,
Yeah.
yeah, it was Texas. Yeah.
It shocked me.
Well,
Well, here's the problem with Texas. I
Saban-
follow Texas close. Alabama, before Saban come, the big problem they had was the board, Paul Jr. and stuff in. In my opinion, Auburn, that's the thing that's kept them. When they had Tuberville, they had the most talented team in the country multiple years.
Yeah.
Couldn't come in with a title. If you look at it, the outside with Reigns and some of these guys that have too much hands in the pot, too much control, that causes them from being a title program. Texas is probably the worst in the country.
About
You talk about boosters
Money.
and
Really?
board being involved and having their hand on the things in the field.
That's why Mike Brown.
It was a huge problem for Alabama, but Saban came in and said, "Hey, I mean, this was very. I'm coming. If I come,
Yeah.
this is what's going to be. Here's
Yeah.
what you're here." And they have stuck to that. Nobody sticks their nose onto the field where it doesn't belong. And I think a lot of these guys at Texas want to know because they're very well known for that environment. Somebody like Stark who's trying to build a reputation up and get himself back, maybe it's a good job to
So you'll have
establish
to
coach.
eat a little crap for
I think
you.
Mustamp would have been stupid to have went there and took it just with where he is.
It's going to take somebody
See,
with a
Herman
backbone.
went 32-18 there and won all 4 bowl games
I mean,
and got
I
fired.
thought he was a good coach.
Texas is one of these programs to where you don't even have
I mean,
to
I
recruit.
didn't think he was
It's
bad.
a blue blood. It's like Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama. Just the name alone and that burnt orange, kids are going to come play.
Well, you
It's
seen
an
the
easy
list
place to recruit.
For the money, Bama's
yeah,
like 7.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Texas is
And they're the big
Texas
money.
is up top.
They
man.
bring the money. They're
you know,
there. The facilities. But there's a reason. I mean, the only one when they had Vince Young when they won that title, and then when Alabama beat them, that they're not there more is because of this influence. Too much stuff goes on in the program with the board and the boosters, and it's
Mac
well
Brown got
known,
going.
and a lot of coaches won't go there because of that.
They got their own Longhorn network.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Mac Brown, all that
Yeah,
stuff starts
yeah,
happening, and then Nebraska leaves. I mean, there's some stuff happening that we don't know that's behind closed doors.
Give Sark a couple of years, and if he can do things like he wants to do things, I think he'll turn that Texas program around. I mean, Sark has coached in multiple national championship games.
If they'll leave him
He
alone.
coached the Falcons in a Super Bowl.
Mm.
If they'll leave him alone,
It's just a
he'll
daggone.
be a heck of a
He's going
he'll
to
be a
have to
heck of
make
a
it
coach.
very clear and draw the line and say, hey, this is. He's going to have to get up in some people's faces that've got a lot of money that write a lot of zeros.
Yep.
And tell them, hey, I still want your money, but you're not in this office, you're not in the facility, you're not on the field, I'm not
And that's what
taking
Coach
advice.
He's going to have to take some of that Saban mentality with him.
Brian has done at Auburn. They've come in and got a committee.
Oh, they've got some good coaches.
Now, you-
Derek Mason hired there.
Look at the staff he's put together. An incredible staff at Auburn.
They're getting away from that.
Who else? Who else? I know Mason,
I know he hired Derek Mason.
which was a good hire.
It was an incredible hire for Auburn. Yeah. I can't remember who all else he's hired.
But Mason's the main
Derek
one.
Mason
There's somebody
was a big
else, and I
pickup at
cannot
Auburn.
think of who it is.
Well, losing Kevin Steele hurts him because Steele
That
is a
does
very
hurt,
good
yeah.
recruiter.
Mm.
He's a good recruiter at Alabama. He's a good recruiter down there. Yeah, he's a good coordinator, but his recruiting skills, and that's what's going to hurt Alabama with losing Charles Huff. Charles Huff was the #1 recruiter in the country this year.
Yep.
He's responsible for a lot of these guys like Devontae Cumming, credited with their recruiting. He's like 5 of the 5-star guys out there. It's him, and losing him is really going to hurt on the recruiting side of things.
Cornelius Williams from Troy is going to be the wide receiver coach at Auburn.
Okay, maybe that was the.
That's the
And
next guy.
I think I saw somewhere
Who
where
else?
they had taken.
They've hired somebody else that we know
Yeah,
besides Mason. I saw that, but I cannot remember.
I think they ended up hiring Quentin Riggins. I think that he hired Quentin
Who's his
Riggins.
offensive coordinator?
Quentin used to be the sideline reporter, and I think they've hired Quentin Riggins to come on staff.
Yeah,
now.
Cadillac's going to stay.
And Cadillac's going to stay and,
Yeah, I saw he
be
was
on
staying.
staff.
Speaking of offenses, we were talking about Texas, and me and Matt was just debating for fun. Was the greatest offense ever LSU last year, Alabama this year? Actually, it's the USC team
You're right.
in 05.
Yep.
580 yards a game.
Yep.
They even did that in the national championship
Because
game.
that's the year that Texas went on to play on.
That's
Yeah.
when Young scored.
Yeah, from the young
Is that the year,
on
was
the
that
end.
the year Matt's?
Yeah, Matt Leinart.
Yeah,
was that it?
Reggie
Matt
Bush,
Leinart,
Lindell.
yeah, Reggie Bush. Yeah.
Yeah, they averaged 580 yards a game.
Yeah.
Well, it's also on the West Coast with the
Right.
back, so
No defense.
Had
Yeah,
574.
Big Ten
And
team
they're
got
playing
beat, so.
Yeah.
Colorado and
No defense.
Oregon
Which-
back then, which was Oregon's no.
Which is going to be interesting too with Auburn and what the direction they go, bringing in the Boise coach. Because you see, like we were just talking about earlier, with the passing thing, if they're really kind of going to go away from what they have, if he's going to restructure everything, and they're losing a lot on defense. KJ Britt,
So
you've got
They
Jordan
had Big Cat
Peters.
Williams just transferred to Tennessee.
Yeah, Big Cat's gone.
Wow.
Anthony Swartz gone. Eli Stove, Christian
Transferred to
Tuck,
Tennessee.
and they're saying they're almost certain Seth Williams, probably best
Bixby.
quarterback they had.
Well,
is gone. I
Tank
haven't heard
Bixby-
about
I
that.
hadn't
Who's the
heard
two
anything about that.
linebackers that are so
Yeah,
good?
KJ Britt was
Who
good.
was the other two? One of them's got a weird name.
Yeah.
They make a lot of tackles.
He's,
You know, a Boygby or something like that.
Adobe or
Yeah.
they've got a lot of restructuring to do, especially
They got
on
some
the
good
offense.
players.
No, he's kind of a pistol, kind of like, I don't want to say like O'Brien, but maybe because it seemed like Bo Nix, when he ran a little bit, they were a little more effective because it makes the defense play a little more honest, and they kind of got away from that in the bowl game. I know the coach was gone, but you just could see that they had chances and opportunities to score in there, and I hated not to see them being able to, put the ball in there.
We've got a
Bad play calling. So this guy, this style he runs is kind of pistol-like. That
Yeah.
that Mountain West stuff. He was successful there, but just because you're successful at a smaller school, you're going to play with big dogs.
Think
And
at
the
one
thing
point
is,
Boise State was undefeated at one point.
yeah,
when
and
he was there.
now your record, your schedule has Alabama every year. You cannot
Yeah,
avoid
you can't
playing
avoid that.
Alabama.
No.
And nobody wants the job, man. Who wants to be at Auburn? All these boosters, the Lyerly and all the guys down there in Reigns telling you what you can do and smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. And
I was reading
running
some of the
show.
guys evaluating it though, and a lot of people are really big on the hire. A lot of them say it
Oh,
might
yeah.
actually be the best
Good
hire
hire.
that's out there for the fit. So it's
Well,
gonna be
money wise,
interesting
they
to
were
see.
so in debt with
Yeah.
Gus.
Yeah.
Well, they're having to pay Kevin Steele over $5
And
million
yeah,
now.
so they owe Gus $21 million, Kevin Steele $5 million.
Because they wanted to go to Liberty and get Freeze.
Freeze.
Yeah.
But and they wrote the check.
And that's going to happen soon. Freeze is going to end up somewhere.
He'll end up back in the
He
SEC.
wants back in the SEC. That's, I saw an interview. I mean, he really
He
wants
may
to
be in
back.
Tennessee. He wants to be at Tennessee.
Yeah,
And Jimmy Pruitt, there's a lot of stuff going on up there.
his seat's really hot right now.
And they're
And
keeping
I'll
the
take him
door
back
closed
to
on
the
a lot of
DC.
that.
I'll take him back in. He come on back to
Bama.
Bama any
Because
day.
Paul Feinbaum, if Feinbaum don't know what's going on at Tennessee, and he's got a little bit just from what I've heard from Feinbaum, there's a lot of closed door hush hush exactly what's going to happen.
Well, you know, and I've wondered if Tennessee cuts him or if they fire him. I wonder what the chances are he may not end up back at Alabama. You know, we've seen that before. Coaches have come back to where that was the case with Steve Sarkisian. He left, he came back.
You get spanked and you go back home.
Yeah.
And you get you
We'll take
stuff together.
We'll take him back. Come on back home.
Yeah, he did a good job around here. Now on the fly though, you know, his known about his attitude and stuff like that. Now we've heard that it's not very friendly.
Sarkisian.
Pruitt.
Oh no.
We've heard that from his
No.
other
Well,
high school
he stepped
stuff.
into a mess when he took the job, and we knew that.
No,
College
he's a
football fans
typical.
knew that.
I don't know, but you know, there's a
He stepped into a
circle
mess.
out there that says college coaches are buttholes and they're arrogant,
right. Well,
and I think he fits that perfectly.
We've heard that.
When,
From other
Butch,
high school
when Butch
coaches.
Jones left Tennessee, he stepped into a mess.
How do you think Urban Meyer's going to do in the NFL?
Yeah, speaking of that,
I don't
we'll
know.
segue to NFL. That's a good job there, Tony. That's why he makes the bucks, man. See how that works? See how that works, Joey? I know why you got this guy. Man. The segue's great.
Keep
I mean,
it
he
real,
just,
well.
we have this vision, man. We got our dumb notebook. See what me and Tony's got? A scratch. And nobody can look at and know what it is.
Is he going to make it health-wise? Poor guy.
Is he going to have another mental
Is he gonna have
breakdown?
another mental breakdown?
Is Saban going to go back to the NFL?
Hard
and
time
take his
losing,
offense?
though.
Saban will ever go back.
I don't ever see Nick Saban leaving college.
It's such a different, and that's why I wonder when they're so. I mean, how many pure college coaches
It
do you
takes
think of
years.
that have had a solid, just raised student, never been in the NFL, been a college head coach, and went to the NFL and had good success?
I don't know many.
Saban
Jimmy
wasn't-
Johnson.
yeah,
Butch Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
Saban wasn't even
Barry
successful in the
Sanders,
NFL.
that's it.
I mean, he had a
Switch.
terrible record in Miami. So
But yeah,
If
it doesn't happen. But
It's
I
so
don't-
much business. If Meyer can get on dry land with the GM, and they can G-haul, and they can come to an
Yeah.
understanding of what we're going to need, and if he'll give him a little leeway,
Well, they were in the AFC Championship 3 years
Well,
ago.
I heard some of the talking heads this morning say it may be one of the best hires in the NFL. That they think the Jaguars may be the team to beat in the next couple
See,
seasons.
to me, Urban's done a really good job of
I don't
coming
know.
in.
Patrick
I wouldn't
Mahomes,
play for him.
Yeah,
and Josh Allen, and those guys are going to have something to say about that.
Yeah.
They're young, they're
Yeah.
good quarterbacks. Breeze, Brady, and I wonder what that score is of that game.
Oh, let me look that up.
They're-
those two guys you just mentioned on their way to a Super Bowl, probably.
We're fixing to
they're
go
leaving
into
in the
pros.
next 2 or 3. They're leaving. So these new guys, and maybe Trevor coming into the league, he'll probably go to Jacksonville. Urban Meyer's been good with quarterbacks. He did great with Tebow.
13-10.
He had Cam
13-10.
Newton on that team
Halftime.
also. So
Saints.
I think Urban probably
He'll
give him
do
3
all right.
years.
I don't really know. I don't know.
It's
They're
just-
rough on those coaches.
It's not like college at all.
Well, no,
No.
it's such a different thing. That's why you look
Completely
at why Saban, I don't think, was successful. When you're
He wants to control it.
when you're in the program, you have complete control. When
And
you're
you
a
don't.
head coach
No.
in the pros, you're basically like a middle management. You're not the boss.
No, you're not.
Because you're managing a thing and answering to the people above
have
you,
stock in the
officers,
team.
the GM,
Yeah.
the players are making more than you are. They're
Yeah.
not going to fear you like you can.
Right.
And you don't have the respect. And I think that's why, just because it's impossible to compare. Because someone that makes a terrible NFL coach, they can be the best college coach ever. We've seen it with Saban. Same way, I think there's a lot of college coaches that are great that would never last. In the
Saban
NFL.
probably wouldn't even do that if
I mean,
he had
would-
that to
no,
do
that's what
over
I'm
again.
saying. Never
I
go
bet he
back.
wouldn't either. Yeah.
Could Tom Osborne
No
have
way.
translated to, in those the heydays, the greatest football team ever, the Huskers?
In the
Could,
90s, could
yeah,
he have
could he
coached
went-
pro ball?
instead of Johnson going, could he went to the Cowboys?
Boys.
I don't know.
Because he's probably one of the only ones to do it with the Cowboys.
And a lot of people ask about could Nick Saban do in Alabama? Could he do that in Dallas when they were trying to hire him
But
in
see,
Dallas?
I don't
And
think-
I don't think he could.
I don't think because
he
you're
could.
talking about making a relationship, and it's different because you're sitting in the living room with a young man and his mom and dad, and you're making personal contact, and you're promising mom that you're going to make sure they go to church on Sunday and that they're at practice and they're eating their meals. It's not that way. This
These
guy,
are grown men.
you're talking about a free
Yeah.
agent. You get a phone call at midnight. He rolls up in his Porsche.
Yep.
Under your secret garage, and y'all have a meeting, and he comes in a $30,000 suit and a $50,000 watch, and he's telling you, well, here's what I want, and here's how I'm going to play, and here's how many games I'm going to play,
Or I'm leaving.
and if I don't get 20 catches
Yeah.
in these 2 games here and so many yards, I want a salary bonus bumped on these conditions.
And then they rig it to where if you stink it up the worst, you get the best player
That's
in the country
exactly right,
first.
yeah.
To keep it even,
Yeah.
and then you can't ride in college. You got this guy 3 or 4 years. I mean, we saw with LSU how quick you can turn with losing players. You can be a Belichick and get a guy like Brady and ride it for 15 years and be successful because you get the guys that keep them,
Yeah.
and you got the same players. You don't have to rebuild every
Mhm.
year. You don't have to recruit every year.
It's just different. I'll give Urban 3 years. I think he'll do a good job if he can get some good people in there, but it's a totally different game. Well, we'll see the NFC, Saints and the Bucks. Who's up?
13-10, nearly halftime. You know,
Who's
talk
up?
about
Who's up?
Saints.
Saints are up.
Don't be shocked if Brady wins.
No,
I know,
I'm
I
talking
geez.
Tom Brady here.
Now Brady hasn't played good in either of these games they played him, so
And he will today.
he may.
Let's see what he's doing. We got stats.
Yeah,
we can
look
do
at-
anything here,
Now the
guys.
AFC, the Browns and the Chiefs. The winner's going to get the Bills. Which
Wow.
the
Well, that
Chiefs-
was-
The Chiefs
Chiefs
won
won.
the Bills, yeah.
Barely.
They won by less than a touchdown.
That'll be their 3rd straight conference championship, which is I don't think it's ever happened for the.
I
Browns.
really thought the Browns
Kansas
were
City.
going to get him, man, but they.
Chubb dropped like 3 in a row. Did you see
Yeah.
that? I don't
He
know
had
what was it?
he had 69 yards today.
Who?
Chubb.
Oh, Chubb. Okay.
Mahomes got him.
No, Brady's not doing very well. He's got 35 yards at that.
The Saints, man, their defense
Yeah.
just locks down.
Then
up there.
again, Todd, he was down 28-3 against the Falcons too.
Then
So-
right.
In the
That's
Super
right. He's
Bowl.
the second half guy. Breeze has 63. Jameis Winston come in threw a 56-yard touchdown pass.
There you go.
Quentin
Wow.
Winston from Birmingham, Alabama.
Don't let crab legs, boy. Throw him.
Yeah, that
Now we know
Kansas
why
City.
Saban didn't get him. I was always like, why didn't when I found out, I was like, oh, okay.
Makes sense.
Mahomes went out of that.
He
He
did.
did. McCombs did go out.
He's under
there.
concussion protocol, so he'll probably maybe be ready for the next game. Now, Josh Allen was through 23 completed passes for 206 yards. They beat the Ravens 17-3.
You know, Josh Allen's good.
Hundley did come in the game. I thought Hundley did pretty good. Didn't he play at UCLA?
Brett?
Or,
Yeah, UCLA.
I watched him play at college, and I thought he was pretty good. He's really smart. When you do an interview with him and watch him talk, really intelligent young man, I thought he did a good job. I mean,
What got
They
them
didn't
beat
win,
was that 100-yard interception return. I mean, that's a 14-point turnaround.
he has never thrown a pick in the red zone, ever.
Lamar Jackson,
Never.
He
Till
did
that
one.
that
That
one.
game.
and he ran it back
The
100
Ravens
yards.
have set all the offensive records. He's broke every record. There's records he's taken on that listed in the league from 1950s before NFC, AFC even existed.
Mm-hmm.
They own all these records, and Harbaugh's done a fantastic job there. And it's just kind of weird to see them go out. But I picked the Bills early in the year. Remember, me and Ethan talked about them. We knew they was
Mhm.
going to be good, man. They got Diggs and those guys. They're good
No,
up front on
Diggs is
defense.
rejuvenated, and which he was good anyway. you
I
know.
was mostly surprised. How'd y'all feel about the Rams going down 32-18 to the old man, the old goat?
That wasn't even a good game.
No, I thought it would be way better.
They just couldn't deal with
The
Green
Rams
Bay.
were supposed to be lock down defense, and Aaron Rodgers just said, "Well, watch this." He just, he comes in
I
and
think
just
they
smokes
just
them, man.
do whatever they want to right now. Their
Well,
defense looked good too.
It looks
You know-
favored at the Packers and the Bills, and it's going to be some good types. And y'all tune in. We're going to get off here, and y'all go check out the Bucks and Saints. And
Well, what's y'all's prediction for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, y'all.
Chiefs and the Packers. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with the Chiefs and the Packers, and I think Kansas City will probably end up winning it
Again,
again. So,
they got Tyreek Hill. He had 110 yards again,
yeah, well, they got Mahomes
Kelsey.
too. They ain't no. Yeah, and they got
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey. Yeah,
109 yards.
yeah. I think it'll come down to the Chiefs and the Packers again, and,
I
and
hope
Kansas
it-
City will end up.
I think
winning.
Kill's the best player in the
Yeah,
NFL.
Tyreek Hill's incredible.
Well, he pushed his receiver coach. You see that? As they was going to break, he pushes his receiver coach, and they come back, and the receiver coach was laughing at him. They showed the play, and he just runs a little out route and just runs out the corner end zone. He is wide open. And, of course, Hundley he's just like, oh, God, dunk pass, check down.
Mhm.
And Tyreek's he's livid. He's wanting the ball over there. They could score, but I thought that was kind of funny. The Chiefs and the Packers, I guess that'd be a good pick. What do you think?
I think that's
I-
yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
I
They're
want the
better.
Bills,
They're
man.
both.
Yeah, the Bills may.
Bills may do that.
They're
I'm going
good.
for
Josh
Bills.
Allen's incredible.
If I come in here with a Bills hat on, y'all don't laugh at me.
We ain't gonna laugh. We give it to you.
I hope I'm looking for some success from them because it's been 30 years
Long time.
since Jim Kelly,
Yeah.
Thurman
They were
Thomas,
good.
Yeah.
Mid-'80s.
lost
Yeah.
3 in a row.
Yeah,
4.
God dang
it's been a while.
it. Well, I don't know.
They really only should have won one of them. The first one. They should have won
Yeah.
the first one. And who knows, that might have paved the way to win another
I
one.
know.
He missed a 20.
Well, the Giants and all them were
26-yard
so
field
darn
goal.
good then.
Yeah.
And,
Redskins.
they were just killing people.
Yeah.
The Washington football team.
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah.
Well, you,
We're
say,
not politically correct.
you can
now.
say Redskins on Matt and
Yeah,
Todd's
that's
show.
what I'm saying out
You sure? We may get censored.
Nah.
Censored.
Might kick
Is it
us off.
censored or
Yeah.
censured?
here. Well, we might get kicked off
Censored.
Facebook and Twitter.
Go to Facebook jail.
That won't be such a bad thing. We'll take care of
Right.
What else you got, Dean?
Well, I do have one more thing, and we
Lay
won't
it
get
on
in.
us.
Do y'all know what's going on with Justin Thomas, the golfer, right?
it.
No,
No.
I don't know anything.
What's golf?
He made a slur at his
Oh,
golf
I did
ball
see that. Yes.
the
yes.
other
That
day.
is golf ball?
At his golf ball and himself.
You idiot. Go home.
Did he get censored? What is he, Happy
Uh,
Gilmore?
he's getting dropped.
Is he Happy Gilmore now?
He's getting dropped
They're
from
canceling him.
canceling him. He's
Yeah.
apologized. And he didn't. He said something he shouldn't have, but he was talking about himself.
Adam Sandler would be proud of you.
Yeah. Go to your happy little home.
Go to your happy little home.
Idiot.
And we can talk about it when we're off here. We won't get into it. I just
Go
wondered
home?
what your thoughts were.
Oh, well, Grandma.
Yeah.
There was one more thing in the sports world before we get off here.
Uh-huh. Boxing, happy sack.
Oh, so James Harden pouts all week and gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, went
Now
off
he
the-
plays with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Kyrie's
lose some
not,
weight,
Kyrie's
too,
not
big guy.
playing right now. But
He was doing nothing in Houston. He wasn't even shooting the ball.
KD, him and KD, they got old school there with OKC, and when Kyrie comes back, they will be.
Listen, I do a
Super.
fantasy league with
But
Logan
he's a
Maddox.
joy to
That will
coach,
be-
James
Do
Harden.
Do a fantasy league with Logan Maddox. I know nothing about basketball, but I'm winning.
I'll tell you this:
That's good enough for me.
the Nets,
Steve Logan.
if Kyrie gets his mind right, and they'll be super dangerous. They'll be a
you're
threat to the Lakers because Kawhi and them.
Well,
he's
I don't
supposed
know
to
if
own
they
LA, and he's
kept-
supposed to be great, and they're going to beat the Lakers.
I don't think Kevin Durant has the ability to get his mind right.
He's just a different. I
He's
love
a
his play.
weirdo.
Love his
Okay?
play. Love his play.
He's just a weirdo.
For a lot of people, I
On
heard a lot of
record.
people say, but even before he was traded, I heard a lot of the talking heads say it's just time for James Harden to retire.
well, he looks like
Oh, Harden to retire?
Just
I
hang it
told-
up.
Well, he's a weirdo,
I
too.
told one of the guys, Ivory Star was one of the guys I was talking to. He looks like somebody's fat uncle that runs the grill that can hoop.
I mean, I'll give
Hey,
it.
boy, bring that barbecue sauce over here. Stop his mom and boat towel. You know, he's flipping burgers with his belly. And y'all boys want to go hoop down there at the hole there? He'll just go out there and dribble.
I'll give it to LeBron. I get tired of hearing about him, but he's got a good personality.
Yeah.
I mean, Durant, he don't like Charles Barkley for crying out
How
loud.
can you not like
How can
Charles
you
not
not
like
like
Charles,
Charles
man?
We
Barkley?
were out talking about that Monday night watching.
And I'll be honest, he thinks that guys like Kevin Durant are punks.
How can you not like?
But go ahead.
If you,
That's what.
if you've never heard the story about how he got his nickname Chuck, go Google it and watch it. It's an
No.
incredible play.
Yeah.
Well, I interrupted you. You were
No,
saying
that's
something
what I
about
was saying.
Barkley.
You got to like Charles.
Yeah,
Barkley.
he's from
I mean,
Alabama.
He got mad at him because he said he was too harsh on his team.
Who don't like Chuck, man? Come on.
You didn't see him after the game with a towel on his head, and Barkley asked him a
now you
10-minute long question. He goes, "Yeah."
Who don't like Chuck, man? Come on.
He's a Southerner, man.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's an
like
Alabama
us.
boy.
I'll never be a Kevin Durant fan after what he did to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, if they could stick together, you can look back. and
They
say,
were fixing to
wow,
win it.
with Russ and all
Yeah.
that crap.
Yeah.
man.
Not Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
We'll cut it loose, guys.
Hey, before we go,
Yes,
county
please do.
basketball tournament
Oh, yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Watch Radio. Check it out.
Yeah.
Logan and Ty will be at the high school. Don't miss that. We'll have girls and boys games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
When's
Yep.
Dean Butch and Hawkins? When's that get? When's that get started back?
Back as soon as football starts.
Man, we
We're all
gotta.
about
We can't.
yeah.
I can't be without y'all like that long. You're going to have to come back
We
on the
miss
show.
it.
Listen,
Oh yeah, anytime.
We
We,
come back
we
anytime.
can't be without Tony and Joey, man. I mean, that's why I wanted to get them on here because it's the football college finale. Football is over, and we got to have the greatest two in the
You got
county here to
JSU
tell us.
coming up here shortly.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
Tyler,
right.
you have spring
Yeah.
ball coming up, so we actually
Yeah.
kind of have a little.
Slade, I hope Slade
We'll
gets
do
to
a little
play.
bit of football
Get to see
for
him.
We got to be careful because we're sponsored by.
Oh, wait just a second, guys. Brady has completed he's got 83 yards now.
He picked it up some.
So he's thrown for 48 since we've been
Since we talked.
since
about
we
it.
said he threw for
But
35.
Speaking about JSU, which I'm a graduate, and I'm excited to see some of our kids that's around here get to go.
Yeah.
And see Slade and them get to
Yeah,
play.
Slade
some-
Alexander's going to be playing. Yeah.
He's going to be great. I'm ready. It's going to be so
Now,
cold.
I wonder-
It's going to be cold.
I hadn't thought about that. That are the kids who recruited since they're on the team, but since the season was moved back, will they be able to immediately
I think that's
I
what
think
they
so.
said.
play
I think
this
so.
week,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. I think
No,
so.
really?
I think
February-
they'll be
I hadn't
eligible
thought
to
about
start,
that,
yeah.
but when you said that, I got to thinking about it. That maybe
February-
these guys get to play early.
Yeah, I think so.
February, March. He will still be in high school. How could he play?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know how that'll work.
If he
Yeah.
could graduate early, if he's got his credits, he could. But
Graduate
so-
early,
I
yeah.
just didn't know how that would work.
We'll have to check into
The,
that.
the other
yeah.
question was, and I seen this on the JSU post. I keep up with them. Are they then also going to play in the fall? You know, in
Yeah,
August.
that's
Yeah,
right.
that would if it
So,
worked
that,
out.
so we'll get to see Slade after the summer and work out. So we'll go there and get to watch him by then for sure. But everybody in the county basketball tournament Thursday. Check the guys out. Logan and,
Don't miss
and
that. Logan and Kyle have that. Yep.
He
Have
have that
that
going
on the
on
Facebook page. We
as
stay
usual.
Yeah.
news and stuff on the Facebook page
Okay.
through the off season.
So Shannon Fagan will have all the articles after the game. Check that out.
Yeah.
Who is in charge? What school?
So
Because-
Cherokee County's going to be hosting
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
They're
Well,
going to do it. They're going to do it at Gadsden State, but COVID
Yeah.
issues pushed it back.
See, I run the clock for City Bluff, and they did it last year, and I had to run the clock every game.
Yeah, so Cherokee County will
So,
host at
it was
the
tough.
Warrior Dome this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we
So
might-
they're in charge of everything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd like to try to get in there and maybe talk to some of the players. Me and Dean thought about trying to maybe get in there on a Thursday evening, talk to them in the lobby or something, just say, hey, what's up, good luck to the guys. And so anyway, we'll thank our sponsors again, Warrior Gym and Kevin Stargell, Lawn and Landscaping. We appreciate everything they do, hanging in there with us. It's always a great pleasure to y'all guys spend a little bit of time with us. And we
Yeah.
thank WEIS, the two goats, Tony and Joey, coming and hanging out with us and wrapping up this college football season with a bow tie for sure.
We behave.
The two goats.
This is it, man. We're moving up the world, Dean. We got them both here. I mean,
Yeah, we do.
everybody watch tonight. Thank y'all again, and God bless everybody. Y'all keep your heads clear, keep your hearts full of God. We love you and we thank you. Amen. Y'all have a good week.